Hello, my name is Sean Hart, along with my co-host here, Mr. Seth Stevens, and this is the very first episode, Alex, of Amazon Seller Stories. This is episode one, and we're interviewing Mr. Alex Mitchell, brand owner of Sentry Screens and Magnetic Screen Doors. Alex, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
So Alex lives in what we call the Great White North. In his igloo, he has no sunshine. My co-host Seth Stevens and I co-founded Post Purchase Pro, which you see behind us here. And the idea, Seth, is that we want to feature a different Amazon seller every week because Amazon sellers are those in the trenches entrepreneurs who are out there making changes and changing the world every day, one single order at a time on Amazon. And we coach a lot of Amazon clients or Amazon sellers over the years, as you know, Alex. And our idea here, buddy, is to get more exposure on your brand and your product and kind of let consumers out there get to know what is Century Screen and what they can do to help support your family business. So, Alex, before we jump into talking about the product, why don't you tell me just a little bit about you? Who is Alex from House Mitchell, and how did you get started in Amazon? What's your history?
So my educational background is actually computer science, and my very first business dates back to I think it would be 1999. It was a SaaS business before SaaS businesses even existed. I still own that business right now, still run that business. But over time, as I kind of got bored of that business and started to look into sort of more of the internet marketing business. I got onto like most people do. I got onto all the different marketing email lists, all the big names, and you get bombarded with all the emails, multiple emails every single day. And after about a year or two of being bombarded with those emails, I just had enough of it and started unsubscribing from everyone, with the exception of about two or three people that I really kind of enjoyed following. And one of them was a guy out of Australia. His name was Matt Carter. And he was actually promoting. I remember at one point he promoted ASM1. Um, and at the time, I didn't think of anything from of that because I wasn't interested in a physical products business. I was looking at the affiliate marketing style business. So I kind of didn't do anything with that. But it was, it would have been another year or two later when he came back and said, I'm his product at the time was under the count or under covered clocks. So he was showing his examples of and his results, and it kind of got my attention about with what he was doing with these under counter clocks and kind of taking his internet marketing education but applying it to physical products. So he
Sure.
got my attention, and he was offering his offer was and this goes back to 2014 2015. So my memory isn't all the way isn't great all the way back then, but I believe his offer was if you don't if it doesn't work out for you, we'll buy all of your inventory back up to $5,000. So for me, I
Wow.
had the cost of ASM, which is how I got my first education and first footsteps into the Amazon world. And it was ASM3 at the time. But then, with this guarantee of buying back up to $5,000 worth of inventory, I really didn't have any financial, sort of risk associated with buying inventory and stuff like that. So I gave it a try, and our first product was turned out to be a great hit.
Is that the same product that you're selling today, the Century
It
Screen?
is. It is, and it and
Oh,
it
beautiful.
started for us. It started because we had initially just got a puppy at the time, and with and he's a big dog too. So, if you've seen photos of our dog, he's a big dog. He's a 80, 90 pound dog. And within the first week, he busted through our storm door. Just plowed right through it and tore the screen to pieces. So that's when I started looking. Well, there's got to be a better option to what's available, and there was an option, but it wasn't a very good one. There was an as seen on TV product that did what we wanted it to do, and we tried it, and he literally tore it down in within a week. So then we started looking at, well, is there a better option? A better quality option, and then we found that was kind of how my first product came about, was finding someone that was designing and building and manufacturing
Okay.
that product, but just doing a better job at it.
So, for you consumers out there who are not privy to this knowledge about this ASM thing that Alex is talking about, ASM were kind of the founders or the forefathers, if you will, of bringing the Amazon private seller or third party seller opportunity to the masses through a program called ASM, which at the time Alex stood for Amazing Selling Machine. They
Right.
further later on ended up changing to Amazing.com, and or actually I think the first iteration of that was Amazon Selling Machine, and then of course they had to change their name to Amazing because you can't use the word Amazon apparently. So
Yeah.
you went from computer geek
It
to
went
internet marketer to physical
to
products Amazon
Yep.
seller. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, and
All
I
right.
still, what's kind of handy about my background with computer science is we still write code, but we write code now is for Amazon business. I mean, that's one of the advantages of having a bit of a computer science background. So
Okay. So it's fair to say that you've been selling on Amazon with your brand Sentry screen for let's going on 7 years now, 8 years.
7 or 8 years
Started in
now.
15. Oh,
Yeah,
9 years. Okay. So
yeah, the end of
so you earned
2015.
the gray whiskers on your chin then, right?
Yeah, that wasn't great before.
All right. So Seth, let's talk a little bit,
Yeah.
Seth, with Alex about the specific product and the reason for that particular brand.
Well, I love the story so far, Alex, that you were solving a problem in your own life. And you took that product and you were having a problem and you were able to bring a solution to market that wasn't evidently apparent. And then you kind of hit a winner right out of the gate. And a lot of people that enter the entrepreneurial world or the Amazon seller world in particular, they don't hit that product success right off the gate. So you didn't have that hurdle. But what other kind of challenges did you experience as you were kicking off your business and as you've grown it?
Um, One of the biggest problems that we ran into would have been just growth. Purely, I mean, literally our first order with our factory and our factories in China, our first order with them, I think, was $2,500. And then, I mean, so that, I think that got us 500 screens or something like that. I mean, we blew through that in no time at all, to a point where we had stocked out before we got the next order in. So, and then we doubled that order. So we went from 2,500 up to 5,000. And then, being trying to be a little smarter this time, that I'm not going to wait till I stock out this time. Now I'm going to order ahead of time. But it was the growth of having to continually put more money into the business in order to fund the growth. And that was I mean, we still have those same growing pains now. Is as we expand into like the European markets, the UK markets, and right now we're up to um, between 60 and 70 SKUs. So having 60 or 70 SKUs in the US, in Canada, in the UK, and in Europe, it accumulates a lot of financial resources. So that's been our biggest issue is inventory management, and those growing
Okay.
pains.
So you've got the good product, you got a listing going, you have a following, and then you got your supply chain down, and now all of a sudden you're expanding into these other markets, and you're having trouble keeping inventory in stock of your 60 SKUs. Does that sum it up?
That's pretty much it. And then obviously
Well,
it
that's a
didn't
good
help.
problem to have, I have to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't help with COVID and all the supply chain disruptions from last year. That everything getting bogged up at the ports, and that cost us quite a lot of money with not just not being able to get product through the ports and through customs.
So
Alex, I know
one of
you
the
kind of
things that, sorry, Seth, go ahead.
I was going to say, sorry, Alex, you kind of touched on this early on, but when you were developing your product, you had purchased competitors' products and you found that it wasn't going to work for you, right?
Yeah.
So, is there anything that you guys have worked on that kind of has made your product better than your competitors, gave you an edge? Like, how did you get your edge in that market?
So the market is super super competitive. When you go to some of our competitors on Amazon, you're talking about guys that have 50 to 60,000 reviews plus. So the way I mean, we're obviously a small business. We don't have 50 or 60,000 reviews on our products. The way that we kind of distinguish between ourselves is, I mean, we really push the envelope in terms of the features that are available, because we listen to our customers, we get feedback from our customers and say, well, it'd be nice to have this. So we went from having one product in one size. It was a 36 by 83 screen door. And then people came back, customers would come back and say, can you make one a little bit bigger? Can you make one a little bit smaller? Can you make one that fits my trailer? And from there, that single screen door has gone up to 16 different sizes and 5 different colors. And then we've expanded then into garage doors as well. So now, we went from a double car and a single car garage, and now I think we're up to 8 different sizes in garage doors, just because there's no standard size for a garage door. And then we are into the sliding patio doors and French doors, where those are now offset to one side because only one side of the door opens, right? So we've got those coming. And then we've had other people come back saying, well, my pet is sometimes, when they get coming in the door, the pets are pawing at the door and they're tearing the mesh. So now we have a line of pet doors. Um, we're in the market right now, just kind of measuring out and talking to the actual manufacturers of toy haulers. You ever seen the toy haulers?
Yeah, of
Hmm.
course. I've owned a few.
Stick the razors and all that stuff in the quads and stuff in the back of your trailer. So so when those the back of those trailers come down, which kind of forms a little deck and like a little patio in the back, people have been asking for sizes to fit those. So we're kind of working on those
That's
sizes. I
great.
mean, so purely our growth and our expansions has been really listening to our customers and what they want.
That's amazing, Alex, that you keep the business small enough to where you can make adjustments on the fly and give your customers what they want. So I just realized, Alex, we started talking about your business and your brand, and we really don't know what the product is. So can you explain what your product is and what it does in just plain terms?
So it's called a magnetic screen door. So think about sort of the, like if you have a storm door where you've got that mesh, like the see-through mesh on the back door. So take that and look. It looks like a curtain, but it's separated in the middle, and it has magnets that go down the middle, so that when you walk through that, you push the curtain open in the middle, and then the magnets automatically close the screen door behind you, so that if your hands are full, you're carrying stuff out to the barbecue, or you let your pet out. The pet runs out and comes back in. I mean, in the summers, we leave our back door open, and our pet can come in, or our dogs and our cats can come and go inside, without having to, you know, scrape the door for someone to let them in and out. So it's
Oh,
just
that's a
literally
great idea.
a screen door that separates in the middle and then automatically closes for you.
I love that. I first become aware of that product. I think back in 2013, it was an as seen on TV product
Yep.
that was pretty
Yep.
popular here in the States. So it's great that what you've done is you've identified that market and then just tapped in and kind of stepped in front of that stream of revenue, becoming the go-to source with 60 different SKUs. Can you imagine? I didn't like the shoe business because I had to have like 13 different sizes. You have 60 different sizes and growing every day. But let me
Yeah.
tell you one of my favorite parts about Alex Mitchell and his business. Alex, you've already been always been able to kind of pivot and take new opportunities and new tactics that you learn inside of our industry and apply those to your business. You kind of stop using what doesn't work and you continue using what you're seeing results from. And I've always respected you for that. You're a smart man and a brilliant business person, and you understand the value of marketing. So let's go back to November of 2020, I believe it was, when we first engaged with you and you joined our program, Post Purchase Pro, for the simple fact that you understood that you needed to create a relationship with your customers. Now that's been what, almost 18 months ago now, and kudos to you for understanding the value of that. But I have to tell you, since you're our very first episode of this podcast, you were also our very first victim. I mean client for post-purchase marketing. So you're a smart man, and I appreciate you for taking that vote of confidence with us, or making that vote of confidence, Seth.
Yeah, definitely. So, Alex, we love to dive deep into the kind of the stories and the philosophy of the sellers that we're interviewing. So, is there anything that's kind of stood out to you along the way that you've picked up specifically in the Amazon game, that you'd like to share with as a tactic or a strategy, something that kind of overrides everything else? Anything come to mind?
I mean, without tooting your horns, I mean, I mean, your previous business, I don't know if you want to mention what that was, but your previous business was teaching people how to sell on Amazon. And for me, I mean, I think for me that in our business, I think that was a big turning point. That, prior to joining that, I think I was the number one member in that business too. Um,
I say
but
number two, but you were right in there.
but prior to that, I went day to day, completely lost, didn't know what I was supposed to be focusing on, and that was the number one reason why I joined that business as a member, was to get that clarity in terms of what should I be focusing on in my business, what should I be spending my time doing, what should I be delegating out to other people, and where's my time most importantly spent. And I think, in all honesty, I think that was the biggest turning point in terms of me expanding the business to where, from just a tiny little business up to where it is now.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So, I love it, Alex. So you've always been willing to share, and that's kind of our philosophy as well. So that's why we're doing the podcast, to share, your story with others. So, and here's something kind of unique that we like to do with this podcast, Alex, is we actually like to bring awareness to your brand and your products that you're selling. You've put a lot of thought and time and energy and effort into that business over the years, and honestly, you can really tell that because you've been selling the same product basically for 7 years. That's amazing. So, if you'd like, Alex, we'd love to make an offer to our audience, so they can check out your product, maybe claim a you know
First, before you go
claim
there,
a
Seth, let me just answer this question,
yeah.
okay?
Go ahead.
Because we're gonna put an offer out there for him. But Alex, in your words, what makes your product, your magnetic screen door, better than the others out there?
I would put it down to the quality of the craftsmanship of the product. Um, Obviously, listening to the feedback from our customers. I mean, we're the only ones on the market that have the 5 different colors and all the different size variations that you need to fit your door, fit your garage door, whatever it is. We're constantly adding new features to we've added weights to the bottom to help them close faster. We've added tie backs to the side, so for people that want to just have it open all the time. We've put wind resistors in the middle for people that have really, really gusty, windy days, right? So,
Wow.
we're just constantly adding new features. Where you look at some of the competitors that we have, they have maybe one or two sizes, and they're selling just a single door screen. I mean, we're expanding into all these other types of screens, so it's not just one or two sizes and kind of make it work or not. It's
Okay.
for us, it's figure out what works for the customer and give it to them.
Okay, so here, let me just boil this down to three core benefits of using your product. Number one, you can leave the doors open and enjoy the outside without having bugs and leaving your animals trapped or having them tied up, right?
Yep.
Number two, you can fit almost any opening, whether it's in an RV or a garage or a sliding door or a swinging door, doesn't matter. And finally, you can get it in any color that matches the decor of your house. That's pretty amazing, Alex.
Yep. Yep. I think that's pretty good
So
summary.
so now, Seth, what is the offer that we're going to make for you out there who already need a new magnetic screen door? I, for one, need a new screen door because we now have, I've never been a pet person. So we started with one dog a year ago, then we had two, and now we just got our third one this week. And, I'm like, only one of them lives indoors. Don't get me wrong, but every time he comes in and out, he makes the other dogs jealous. So we need to make that simple. And he
Kinda
gets
like
to get
Pringles,
through
huh?
the what you call it, invisible fence. So, what can we offer for listeners? We're going to put a promotional code, a coupon code to use at Amazon. That'll be in the show notes along with a link to go buy Alex's product. So, Alex, what can you offer for exclusively to these listeners today?
So any one of the sizes, any one of the products, I'm happy to do 25% off.
Wow,
Yeah.
Great offer.
25% off. Wow. That's a great offer, Alex. So what we're going to do, folks, is you're going to see that in the show notes, and then if you're watching the video version of this, you're not only seeing an image of Alex's product, so you understand it and the brand, but also in the notes in that social media posting, you'll see the code to use and also the link to go pick that up on Amazon. So. Wow, what an amazing offer, Alex. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Like I said, you're a brilliant marketer, brilliant businessman. We enjoy your insight. Any final words of wisdom before we sign off on Amazon Seller Stories episode 1?
I don't have any more. No, I mean, the biggest thing is for the listeners that are out there. I mean, if you haven't joined and done something with Sean and Seth, I highly recommend it.
So in other words, subscribe to the podcast, share and like, right?
Exactly.
All right. I sure appreciate you. Seth, take us out of here.
Yeah, guys. So this has been episode 1 of Amazon Seller Stories. Thanks, guys.
Take care, Alex.
See you guys.